In the 22nd qualifying session of the 2024 Formula One Championship, Scuderia Ferrari continued the work with the soft compound that began during the final free practice session at the 6.2-kilometer Las Vegas Strip circuit in Nevada without making significant setup changes. The low-drag rear wing, which is the specification previously seen in the Italian Grand Prix at the Monza circuit, was confirmed, while both SF24 cars ran the standard floor specification without the updated edge details. From a handling perspective, there was a general excess of rotation, with balance shifting noticeably toward the rear at lower speeds. This characteristic caused slight understeer on corner entry in certain areas, such as Turn 7. Ferrari focused extensively on tire preparation, which required considerable work even during the qualifying session itself. The Maranello team frequently communicated with the drivers via radio, suggesting techniques like weaving on straights to create a thermal cycle that could generate sufficient temperature in the front tires at the start of a lap. Maintaining this temperature was also crucial, as the long straights caused it to drop below the target range. This issue, particularly on the tire tread, was closely monitored, with the team aiming to utilize a degree of understeer to heat the tire surface. Ultimately, this influenced the strategy for hot laps. The main question was whether to include an additional preparation lap beyond the outlap. In Q3, Ferrari opted not to perform a preparation lap unlike Red Bull, as we will see later. Meanwhile, Mercedes got their tire warm-up strategy spot on, thanks also to the characteristics of the W15 car in low-temperature conditions. By achieving better balance, they managed to operate their car within the optimal performance window. The setup differences introduced by Toto Wolff's team were notable, with a focus on both downforce and efficiency through a significant reduction in ride height. The big question remains, how will this downforce-heavy setup affect race pace? With the current tires in Formula One, the equation more downforce equals less degradation doesn't always hold true. Only the race will clarify this uncertainty. This outcome was something the Maranello team had struggled with in recent races. With track temperatures at 13.5 degrees Celsius and ambient temperatures around 12 degrees Celsius, unusually cold conditions for Formula One, the W15 single-seater proved particularly effective. This car naturally overheats its rear tires and generates significant friction on the tire surface. Like Ferrari, Mercedes employed weaving during the warm-up lap but avoided a prep lap. However, with a more advanced balance, they were less affected by understeer in low and medium speed sections. Optimal tire management allowed the Brackley team to excel in the first sector, a major weakness for Ferrari, which then had to recover lost time in the remainder of the Las Vegas lap. This points to a recurring issue with the SF24 car, namely insufficient front tire temperature at the start of the lap. George Russell gained significantly in turns 2, 3, and 4, primarily due to better prepared tires that provided higher grip levels. McLaren, on the other hand, struggled not only in the initial part of the circuit, but also continued losing time between turns 5 and 9. Only in turn 5 did it lose almost 0.2, losing an equal amount in the low-speed section between turns 7 and 9. After this section, the gap remained virtually constant. Compared to Ferrari, the main limitation remains the straights, where they are unable to gain on Mercedes. At low speeds, they could have extracted more from the car and the soft tire. On corner entry, both MCL 38 cars lacked significant grip, losing valuable time. Finally, Red Bull faced significant difficulties here in Las Vegas. Max Verstappen secured a fifth-place finish, salvaging the result, while Sergio Perez was once again eliminated in Q1. The work done by the Austrian team on the rear wing made headlines. The Red Bull engineers used a Dremel to cut the trailing edge of the additional flap, further reducing the wing's chord, realizing that the one prepared for Las Vegas was not sufficiently low drag. This modification improved the top speed but did not yield significant benefits over the lap, especially in terms of traction. From this, we can draw a conclusion. In percentage terms, 50% of the difficulties can be attributed to setup, which did not fully resolve the issues on the straights or improve traction. The other 50% is due to tire warm-up. Probably, in terms of mechanical setup, Red Bull had to compromise on suspension stiffness to try to put energy into the tires, especially the front ones. These temperature issues on the front axle have emerged in the past, even when the Milton Keynes team was dominant. Finally, we take a look at the telemetry data, and if we observe the ideal times of the main teams, we see that almost all drivers set their best lap in Q3 except for Lewis Hamilton. The 7-time Formula One world champion and future Ferrari driver, in fact, failed to put together a clean lap due to his own mistake. Without this error, his W15 number 44 could have reached third place behind Carlos Sainz. The Ferrari driver was just 1.5 tenths behind, with all of it accumulated in the opening sector. Compared to Mercedes, Carlos Sainz's Ferrari seemed more balanced, with excellent top speeds and solid handling in slower sections, particularly in the central sector thanks to strong traction. The Spaniard's front-row start genuinely offers Ferrari hopes of victory. However, the main concern remains the tires, with a scenario that doesn't look entirely favorable for the SF24, especially given past trends. After the initial stint on medium tires, the race will largely be run on hard compounds in low temperatures, a combination that may not suit the Ferrari and could minimize its strengths, such as superior tire management due to lower overheating. Interestingly, no team tested hard tires during free practice, leaving everyone in the dark about the race compound. As such, only the race will reveal who got the aeromechanical setup right, balancing energy input, graining management, compound activation, and other factors. A quick comparison of Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz's data suggests that the new power unit installed for Carlos Sainz in the Brazilian Grand Prix at the Interlagos circuit provided an edge, especially in the second and third sectors, where power output plays a significant role. In the first sector, however, the Monegasque driver's struggles seem to stem from slower tire warm-up, forcing him into less optimal lines through turns 3, 4, and delaying acceleration compared to Carlos Sainz. On the straights, the future Williams driver gained steadily and linearly, with an overall advantage of about 3 tenths. Notably, Carlos Sainz may have benefited slightly, around half a tenth, from the slipstream of Lewis Hamilton, who was 3.5 seconds ahead during the final Q3 lap. Meanwhile, Charles Leclerc's setup appeared to feature slightly higher downforce. Additionally, Carlos Sainz's gear shifts occurred approximately 170 revolutions per minute, higher than his Maranello teammates, suggesting that the Spaniard's Ferrari could extract more performance from the power unit, particularly at higher gears. If fuel consumption is not an issue, Carlos Sainz could leverage this in the race, further boosting his candidacy for victory against the Mercedes. However, if setups favor hard tires, Charles Leclerc should also remain in contention, especially since recent caution has stemmed largely from brake overheating, an issue that is unlikely to arise in Las Vegas considering the fact that the temperatures will remain below 15 degrees Celsius. The race remains an enigma for everyone, given the compound and conditions. Key aspects to watch include Ferrari's push for victory to continue the battle for the 2024 F1 World Constructors' Championship, McLaren's attempt to recover, George Russell's tenacity as he starts from pole position, and Max Verstappen's efforts to clinch the driver's title against Lando Norris. Many storylines are in play on Las Vegas's table, and we will therefore see who comes out on top in the Las Vegas Grand Prix.